What does the Straw Hat mean? Well, we'll still have to wait to find out. But one thing is certain. This straw hat has been passed down through many hands. Most of them belong to characters who shaped the world of One Piece in their own unique ways. But do you remember all the people who owned this iconic hat? Stick around because that's exactly what I'm about to show you, Roger. Here we come to the next wielder of this famed straw hat. We first saw Roger with the hat when Rayleigh had a brief flashback of the moment his captain recruited him into the crew. In that flashback, Rayleigh recalls Roger inviting him to join the crew while still wearing his iconic straw hat. That very hat is literally the same one Luffy wears to this day. The question is, isn't it a huge coincidence that Roger wore the same straw hat that Joy Boy once did? I mean, Roger doesn't seem like a man of royal lineage or someone devoted to the Great Kingdom or Joy Boy. He seems like a regular guy, just like Luffy, a guy who left his humble beginnings to set sail and live out adventures. So how did a simple man like him end up with such an emblematic hat? Well, there are two possible explanations. Either Roger comes from a family that knows the truth about Joy Boy and the Straw Hat, or the Straw Hat itself chooses its owners, Shanks. Now we move on to the next owner of the Straw Hat, and this one's story is much easier to understand. As we already know, Roger was the original owner of the Straw Hat. We even saw in chapter 1096 that Roger still wore the hat during the God Valley incident. But by a twist of fate, at the end of God Valley, the Roger pirates took baby Shanks aboard their ship. A few years later, Shanks formed a bond with the Roger pirates and became their apprentice. As a teenager, Shanks was given the iconic straw hat by Roger himself. Roger definitely knew that Shanks was the perfect person to carry on this legacy. In my opinion, I believe Roger only gave the hat to Shanks because he expected him to pass it on to the next Joy Boy. But since Roger wouldn't be alive to do so himself, he entrusted that role to Shanks, and that's exactly what the red-haired pirate did. Luffy. And here we have the man Roger and Shanks were both waiting for. Monkey D. Luffy was just a simple boy from the East Blue until he was unexpectedly visited by the red-haired pirates, a crew that caught Luffy's attention with their lively celebrations and the camaraderie they shared. Everyone was chatting happily when, suddenly, Luffy accidentally ate Shanks' Akuma no Mi. That fruit turned out to be none other than the legendary Hito Hito no Mi, model Nika, arguably the most powerful fruit in the entire story. In my view, Shanks was in the East Blue not only to deliver this Akuma no Mi to Joy Boy, but also to hand over the straw hat to him. Contrary to popular belief, I think Shanks was more interested in Ace. As Roger's son, Shanks probably believed Ace would inherit the title of Joy Boy. However, since Luffy ate the Nika fruit, Shanks bestowed the honor of the straw hat upon him, but with one condition. Luffy had to return the hat when they met again, a reunion that would happen when Luffy became a great pirate. Luffy's image has become so intertwined with the Straw Hat that he is the only character in the series to be nicknamed Straw Hat, Joy Boy. This might have been the very first wielder of the Straw Hat. We can infer this because when Im-sama first appeared in the anime, we saw a massive straw hat preserved in a frozen chamber. Since Im-sama is a being who has existed since the Void Century, it's possible that they clashed with Joy Boy and emerged victorious. As a memento, Im-sama kept Joy Boy's straw hat to remember the times when the two of them faced off in battle. But to help you better understand who this being called Joy Boy was, let me give you an overview of everything we know about him. Around 900 years ago, during the infamous Void Century, a man known as Joy Boy lived and played a significant role throughout that era. We have very limited information about this century, but what we do know is that a civilization once ruled over all corners of the world. This civilization was known as the Great Kingdom. The Great Kingdom was the most powerful force in the world, dominating every sea. However, this power was completely destroyed by the alliance of 20 kingdoms, which eventually formed the world government. After taking control of the world, the government concealed all records of the Void Century. To ensure the history of the Void Century wasn't entirely forgotten, the Kozuki family created 30 poneglyphs that documented the true history of the world. Among these poneglyphs, one contained a message from Joy Boy himself, apologizing to the people of Fishman Island for failing to fulfill his promise to bring the island to the surface with the help of the ship Noah. Since Joy Boy left this message on a poneglyph, we can assume he was aligned with the Kozuki family and the Great Kingdom. the civilization that was buried by the government. Piecing this information together, we can conclude that Joy Boy was part of the Great Kingdom and fought against the alliance of the 20 kingdoms. He most likely died during a conflict against this alliance. But who exactly is Joy Boy? Could he be Luffy? Actually, there's a sort of prophecy that says Joy Boy would return in this new generation. In the end, we learned that this Joy Boy wasn't the original Joy Boy from the Void Century, but rather someone worthy of inheriting the name Joy Boy. And that man is Monkey D. Luffy, who, after awakening the powers of the Nika fruit, was recognized as the new Joy Boy of this era. Another detail about Joy Boy's straw hat is that we've seen it is truly enormous, much larger than Luffy's. This suggests two possibilities. Joy Boy might have been of a giant lineage. Joy Boy might have mastered the Nika fruit so perfectly that he was able to maintain its giant form permanently. It would be awesome if that turned out to be true, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's everything we know about Joy Boy, the first known wielder of the straw hat, Nami. Yes, that's right. Nami was once aware of the straw hat. In the Arlong Park arc, Nami had done everything possible to lose the trust of the straw hats. She stole their money, their ship, and betrayed them. But when everything fell apart, Nami realized that she couldn't save her village or defeat Arlong on her own. That's when, after 7 years of fighting alone against those monsters, she asked for help for the first time. In that moment, Luffy entrusted his most precious possession, his straw hat, to Nami. Luffy did this because Nami already knew how incredibly important the hat was to him. By handing it over, Luffy showed her that he was willing to sacrifice anything to help her. But that wasn't the only time she wore the straw hat. There were a few other brief moments when she had it, and believe it or not, she's the only one to do so. Not even Zoro dared to touch the captain's hat. Now it's my turn to pass the hat to you and give you the mission of honoring the crew of the Nerdificando channel. As soon as you subscribe, you'll become part of one of the YouTube channels that loves One Piece the most. So hit that subscribe button. It'll really help our work, and it ensures that YouTube will send all the videos we post here straight to your timeline. It's been an immense pleasure. Thank you for your attention, and see you next time.